Timmy, I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud for you to receive the Arlington Artist of the Year at Santa Barbara Film Festival. So well deserved. You deserve everything. It's been a joy of mine to be making things with you, spending time with you, creating with you. You are a partner in crime. The crime is cinema. And you're someone who has always been fierce since I know you when you were very young and completely committed to the art that you so well express, which is not just performance, but of being a filmmaker. You are a great filmmaker, and I'm very, very happy that we've been able to do things together and hopefully do more together. And I salute your incredible career, your amazing year, your performances in both Complete Unknown and Dune Part 2. And I wish I was there to celebrate you with everybody who are right now in front of you. So I cheer you and I love you.
That's Luca.
That's Luca.
Amazing filmmaker. The thing that came up when I was watching it was when you were looking at the fire. And how old were you when you did that?
20.
Wow, 20. So when you're looking at the fire and you're feeling that emotional, and I'm not going to ask you for your secrets or what you were thinking of, but when you saw the movie, because there was no music playing when you were looking at the fire, did he help you? Did Luca help you get into that moment? Or is that something that, no?
No, I think it was, if I remember correctly, it was not the original ending of the movie. I think it's something he added in the middle of the shoot. And we did 3 versions of that scene, and one that was less charged than that, one that was more charged than that. And, I feel like what gets lost in that, not the performance, because no one should really care what goes on behind the scenes, but the truth is, I was really lasered in. That is to say, I just done Prodigal Son in New York, which is a play off Broadway. And true to what I was saying earlier, which is why I'm mad I said that Denise story, because I feel like that's going to get misinterpreted, the 11 a.m. story, is just I've the work ethic. Look, I think getting to act, you know this better than I do, is a privileged life, no matter how hard you work. But I feel like that gets lost in the cracks sometimes, particularly because I've had a lot of success young, is my work ethic is extremely high. And on a Call Me By Your Name, a movie that can feel sort of romantic and the Italian summer and the countryside, like a scene like that, or for any actor, that feels like gymnastics, I don't know if I'm making sense. That to me is more an expression of where I was able to bring myself that day and less almost where it is in the context of the story, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it does. And does it have anything to do with the trajectory of what where did you shoot that? Toward the end?
Yeah, we did shoot that towards the end.
Toward the end. Yep. So you had this whole relationship, not only with Luca, as a director, as a mentor, a kind of amazing moment that he was having.
Yeah, I had, it was the momentum of the shoot. I had an earpiece that had the song playing, the Sufjan Stevens, beautiful
so
artist.
You did have the music.
Yeah, and I don't know, man. That the truth is that movie took such an emotional toll on me, not in a negative way, but it really was like an emotional vomiting of sorts that, in the interim before it came out, it was almost like I was shell-shocked. Again, not in a negative way, but I did Call Me By Your Name, a movie called Hostels, and then Lady Bird in the span of 4 months. And then I went back to college. And I remember thinking I remember having this, it wasn't my ego, but I was like, man, I feel like I'm doing great work and my career hasn't taken off. And I booked Beautiful Boy around then too. So I was shooting Beautiful Boy and I was doing great scenes in that. And I was like, man, I'm living this weird thing where I know, or I'm confident I'm doing great work, but no one's receiving it yet. And again, I feel like that gets lost, man. Not that I'm on a parade or a path to over-explain myself or to go, woe was me, because I live a very privileged life and I'm very grateful for it. But I feel like the hours put in get lost. You know, I really do. And it's not about the hours. That, you know, sometimes the greatest reception to your work is to make it seem effortless or to make it seem like you stumbled into it. But especially on Call Me By Your Name and Beautiful Boy and A Complete Unknown was like the return to that for me was like, okay, now I've done these huge movies, and through the spirit of Bob Dylan, I want to keep my foot on people's necks.
Get it. You don't want to lose it, but you stay humble. You stay really, I always know you to stay humble. You're always actively looking for that place that can reground you in the work.
Absolutely. And for, you know me well, that sort of goes without saying. So if my attitude's coming off any differently right now, you keep me on track. But, you know, to me, that goes without saying, because I feel like, and as the kids say, being demure or, you know, like, humble, as you just said, or that's like in my DNA, you know, to be very self-effacing and you know, to hate yourself.
Yeah, hate yourself. Okay. So, and then I'll move on to Lady Bird. But the relationship I was going to say with Luca, and then also with Army, did that affect it? Did you get super close? Forget the sexual aspects of the whole thing. Did you get heartfully taken in with each other just because of the nature of what was going on? Because the intimacies, and again, aside from sexually, the intimacies, the emotional intimacies of some of those relationships when you guys are out in the field. And it's so funny, I didn't have to do research for any of this. Like, I know those movies and they stick in your mind. So it's so funny to listen to you talk about, I'm doing these movies and nobody cares.
Well, in the moment, I just meant that in the moment that my ambition for my career, my ambition as I sit here today, not 30, hoping that this isn't a moment where people look back and go, oh man, then he got hit by a truck the next day, but rather, you know, like I feel like I'm just getting started, so I still feel like this in a lot of ways, but, you know, I just meant in that moment, I felt like I was doing a level of work that, whatever, and, but to your point, no, I felt like the love in that movie is sort of brotherly. That's kind of how I always approached it, you know?
I got that.
And so, yeah, that's...
But did it feed that moment? What I got from that moment, when I look at that moment, every time I see that clip, I get emotional. And, you know, that just may be you faking it and me being super sensitive. But it works regardless. You may have been thinking about Hawaii for all I know.
No. I mean, yeah, it did, but I guess I keep contextualizing it in career.
Yeah.
Because if I'm going to be unlike Bob Dylan and over-explain myself in this moment, it would be to say the momentum of the experience of being on a shoot, of being a lead, of being heralded as an actor, to have a Luca Guadagnino believe in me, to feel that experience coming to an end, knowing I was going to go back to New York. That was the momentum that was feeding the emotion of that scene. If anything, it was less, you know, I feel like that often with acting or storytelling. I feel like that on Dune too. It's like the catharsis of the experience is as informative as being academic in where you are in the script, which I know is not what you're asking. But
you seem to be referencing Bob Dylan a lot. Why?
Yeah. We'll get into
it's
it.
Still there. It's still there. Yeah. What about Lady Bird? What about Saoirse? Is that how you pronounce it? Saoirse. I just saw a movie that she did recently. I don't know if you...
Fantastic, yeah. Amazing.
Just amazing.
Incredible.
Blew my mind.
Yeah, incredible.
She's been nominated like 73 times or something.
Exactly.
Crazy. But how is doing work with her? Because I know you worked with her a couple of times.
Saoirse's like a sister to me, and she's a powerhouse. You know, she said it, I'm going to steal the words from her, but we have like very different personalities in real life and also approaches to our work. So we end up being like I think we're like I'm going to sound like a stoner, but like in a lava lamp, you know, like the way it all floats. And, but she's just a beast, you know, and I just love Saoirse. I mean, we met each other at a very unique time in life, and I can't say enough great things about her and Greta. You know, the experience on Lady Bird and Little Women was the same, where I felt like, like I was slotted in. I don't know how else to put it. And then they're these movies that just sing, and they're wonderful and beautiful. And that's the other thing about Greta. When I said that thing, foot on their necks earlier, Greta is like a foot on their necks person. Like, and people don't really know that about her, but she's like, you saw that Uber Eats ad. Like, she's really like, Greta is a genius, and she's also like, how do I say this? Really got her eye on the prize. She's a beast, and people don't really know that about her. She's really like, she's in the metaphorical sense, she's a killer.
Perfect timing. Let's go to the next trailer, which is Beautiful Boy and Little Women.